What are some of your insights onto hiring, and for people looking for jobs? Maybe what are some of the things you'd recommend to them that you've seen that are like red flags?
I think like it's hard because every person is just a little bit different. When we're hiring, we're looking for someone that fits the team, and it's not always just about, oh, hey, can you are you able to implement quicksort in the interview? Like that's not what we're looking for.
Easy.
Yeah, if you've memorized it, for sure it's easy, but it's like, do you have the understanding of what it means to be a software engineer? Is sort of what we're looking for. Are you able to work with the team? Are you capable? Are you able to solve a problem that you haven't seen? How do you solve a problem that you haven't seen? Right? What is your process? A lot of what we look for when interviewing people are not necessarily just the technical chops, but it's also you as a person. At least that's what I do, and that's what my team looks for. Will we enjoy working with you is a big one. And do we feel that if something goes wrong in production, would this person have our back, or would they, just dip and be like, I can't help, or just doesn't provide any sort of, there isn't that sense of team,
right,
in that person. But it's interesting, like I think every candidate is different, and there's different aspects about every candidate that are good and some that are bad, or some, and it might not even be bad. It's just like you're just not a good fit for the team.
Right.
That's about it.
No, that's a good point. I think, and especially because you touched that, and you're working at a big company, but I think even more so for startups, like one bad culture fit can really ruin the entire team.
Yep.
That part is so important. I think people neglect it, right? You see people grinding out leak code questions,
Yep.
And then, okay, I do like 500 leak code questions, get a job, which I still recommend doing. If you want a job, that's probably one of the things, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But there's the aspect of being a human and an engineer that's like all the soft skills that are really, once you get to a base level, those are the skills that matter at the, getting a job. Because I think more than once I've turned down someone because of the vibe check, or
exactly.
Even though they might have been more capable than the other person.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I mean, I think it's as that saying goes. It's like a team, or you'll have a stronger. You'll be able to. Actually, I don't know if this is a saying, but the idea is that as a team, you'll be able to build much more capable and better things than just a single person on their own.
Right.
And yeah, like the vibe check thing is true. Even, I work at Cisco, but the thing is that we're hiring for a team.
Yeah.
Right? We're not hiring for Cisco in general. So the vibe check is something that's important to us as well.
Right.
Especially because, you're going to be working with this person 5 days a week, right? So if you can't work with this person, you're not going to have a good time.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think for vibe check, that's one thing. And let's assume someone's already technically capable. They got the vibe check. What are some things that you've seen on maybe resumes, like specifics that you think have been like no-nos, or like things that just made you laugh?
Oh, I think the most important thing you can do with your resume is make sure you proofread it. I had, it's just like, have you put in enough effort into your resume to sort of present yourself in a way that is appealing to whoever's going to be reading that resume. I've seen lots of crazy things, like 3-page resumes with like insane amounts of detail about what they did, what technologies they used, which is good, but you can summarize that stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, people think they put every single thing on. They'll put everything from, I touched every language, I touched everything. This is absolute garbage. They definitely didn't. Because if you ask them a question, I had a guy the other day, firmware. He's a firmware guy. All his experience has been in firmware, and he claims he knows React and Vue.js well. So then I just asked him spot on to explain some concepts in React. He couldn't do it, and I think this applies. And this is not just in software, but I've seen this in resumes for other positions that I've hired, where people will list a whole bunch of different things they've done. But another aspect is just being honest. Like.
Yeah, if you don't know something, just say it.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly.
Because the alternative is that the other person knows something about it. The interview is, you know, they're an expert in this, and they'll be like, all right, so like, you know, how is this thing, or how does this thing behave in this language?
Exactly.
And if you can't answer that, that looks really, really, really bad.
Yeah. And any tips on like before the application process? Because people are like, oh yeah, I applied. One thing obviously that is
the resume.
Resume is making sure that at some point.
Yeah.
But going through referrals also is a really big tool as well.
Yep.
I guess just kind of a yes or no, but short form answer. But most of the people that you've hired are probably either referrals in some way or form, right?
Yes. Currently on the team, we've got, or in the past, we've also had people that know people.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes they may not have been a referral.
Yeah.
But they have worked at the same company in the past.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy because there's one person on the team who worked at a different company in the past, but he wasn't referred to us.
Yeah.
Just applied and we ended up hiring him a long time ago actually. But yeah, referrals are big. There's a level of what do you call it, like trust involved there. It's like, oh hey, this person's gonna be good, but also be careful with referrals. You give out too many bad ones, and people aren't gonna trust you anymore.
Yeah, there's the referrals are absolute king. There's another aspect where people are like, okay, maybe I don't know as many people. One thing that I've said, and I gave this when I gave a talk back at UBC, how to get a job in tech. I mentioned this, and 2 people at least followed my advice, and then they're like, okay, yeah, this actually does work.
Yep.
And I do like to kind of elucidate it a little further. So what you do is every single university when you graduate, and I'm assuming you're somewhat competent. So that's the first part. Right? Yep. I'm assuming you're somewhat competent. If not, then go get competent. But so for every university has a convocation booklet, tells you who's graduated when. What you can do is you can go in, download these booklets, go to your faculty of choice, whether that's, you know, this applies to any field, but you go to your faculty of choice, you can go past whatever number of years.
Yeah.
You can find these people, you can search them on LinkedIn. If you want, you can go to another university's booklet. More prestigious universities obviously have higher people who are statistically more likely to be at higher end jobs.
Yep.
So you can titrate up and down the university accordingly, like go down to maybe a university you think is mid, and although there's going to be some exceptional people there might be, you know, better opportunities there. You can find a whole bunch of people on LinkedIn. You can either message them directly.
Yep.
You can find their companies who may not have job postings because they're too small and it costs money to put job postings in. And then what you can do is you can be like, hey, look, I'm looking for an opportunity. Do you know someone, or do you know of someone else who's hiring? And you get that ball rolling. Mm-hmm. You can go through so many people, so many convocation booklets, and just go all the way through that. And even if you don't get a job, you've at least done a task in lead generation, in cold reach out, in networking, that'll still benefit your skill set long term, instead of just sitting around and applying to blind jobs on sites and like wondering why your resume got rejected. So that's one approach I do like to say for people who are hiring. But yeah, the market right now is tough to hire.
Yeah.
I am hiring for one position right now, but otherwise most companies aren't hiring right now.
Even with the lead generation thing, like you might end up with someone who looks at your resume and they'll be like, you know, they might just be a nice person and be like, hey, your resume sucks.
Exactly.
And sort of get you to fix it. But yeah, the market is definitely tough right now to hire or to find really good engineers.